We're getting these people that we're pretty sure weren't even listening anyway. They're saying, how could you interview X, Y, Z?
You have to post every week and stick at it.
Once people know who you are, that's where the power kind of lies within.
So already it felt like yesterday I was 18, now I'm 30. And I think, what have I documented?
Dawson D, welcome to the podcast, lads. Looking forward to this one.
Thanks, Lachie. Keen to be here, mate. Thanks for having us. We're stoked.
I'm excited. It's always good to interview other podcasters. They're always, they're going to be good on the mic. I've heard a few of your boys' episodes, and your boys are definitely good on the mics.
Have you had any other podcasters on, other hosts?
I've had like Will Taylor.
Other creators.
Yeah. Trying to think of direct podcasters. Do you boys know the Mock Sports?
Yes.
Yeah, I know him.
Yes.
He's a Bulldogs man. Yeah.
Yeah, Cashy. So I'm actually
Funny
family friends with Cashy.
Oh, yeah, he's a funny man.
So I grew up with him and had him on a few. He's probably been on like 4 times.
Has he?
Yeah.
Are you into the horses like him?
Nah, I can't. Mate,
Yeah.
I bet horses on their fucking names, not
not numbers.
Literally.
But yeah, he's a good guy, and I've had him on. I'm trying to think of any other podcasters I've had on. I definitely am forgetting someone big, and I'm gonna look.
It's hard off the top of your head. I'm always going blank like that too.
Oh, I had Lee Drennan from We Got the Chocolates.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Massive pod. Yeah.
That was a good episode.
Funny blokes.
Yeah, they're legends. What have you boys been up to today? What's going on? Any pod stuff? Anything? Interesting?
Well, we've got. Can we say it? I think we can say it now. Or do you still want to keep it a secret?
We haven't announced it.
We'll tell you off air. But we're doing a huge project at the moment, which will be kicking off in about 4 weeks from the time that we're recording right now. So we're basically dotting the I's and crossing the T's for that, it's just been our focus for the last month. Probably 3 months. So it's huge. So we're just working on that, finalising all that, and then just jumped in here today, mate. We're excited, and we've got a couple meetings this afternoon, and our weeks are. It changes so much with what we do. So we're just stoked to be here.
Yeah, sounds like a whirlwind.
It sounds very vague when I'm like, can't say exactly what to say. We're going to announce it very shortly. We just it sounds. I don't know if you're the same, but we won't announce a guest until we've recorded the episode. Even if they've said yes, we're until it's recorded, we're not saying a word. And this project that we're about to embark on, we're the exact same until we're doing it. We're we just don't want to put it out there, and then it goes wrong, and we have to kind of,
Yeah. No, I feel like it's half. You want to. I always think, I want to announce this guest, so then maybe I can get some questions on from the viewers or whatever. But then it's it's so much cooler that when you've already recorded the episode, you just post
you just drop.
Did episode with so and so. Did episode with Dawson D. So this hasn't been announced yet, so I'm sure everyone will go crazy when this gets announced.
Well, hopefully.
Are you boys doing the pod? Is it full time now?
Pretty much. So we've got a cool kind of system. So we've been going for 5 years.
Yeah.
And we weren't earning any real money for the first 3 years. So it's just Lachie, it's just get one episode out every week. That was our whole goal. And consistency over the long run, that's what's going to pay off. And that's what's starting to pay off now. 5 years into the journey, it's become a real job and a real business. And there's a lot to the story around. We weren't earning. We were living together for a period of time for 2 years. We're doing the podcast from our studio in our lounge room, I should say. We turned it into a little studio. We're getting guests up there, and we were still working other jobs. We would take Fridays off. That was our thing. It was committing to taking a Friday off every week, and that was our podcast day. Which now, looking back, it was hard because you had to try and lock a guest on that day. You couldn't be flexible. We couldn't maneuver. We couldn't change things around for a guest. It was either Friday or it was at night, and we'd do it on Zoom. And then, we again, just the consistency of it, posting videos. I think we were lucky around the TikTok aspect of it. We got on. We were very anti-TikTok for early days. We were like, what the hell is this shit? This how's this going to help us?
Yeah.
And then it helped a couple of good mates of ours, Shep mates, who they are, they're massive content creators in the sports space, and they were like, boys, you got to get on TikTok. And we got on TikTok, and that helped us grow a little bit. And then, now where we are, we're D's full time in the business. So there's it's so hard to explain. We don't just sit and record and interview people. It's a whole business behind the podcast.
Yeah.
whether that's, sponsors, account management. We have a service that we provide for other businesses and creating their own podcasts. We've got a team of 3, part-time team members, so you're managing them, and getting guests in. Yeah. So you're trying to do guest reach out and manage guests and look after the brands that are involved and getting product. And there's just so much to what we do. And it's a full-time job now, which is crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I feel like you don't realize how long people have been doing stuff like this. Like, I remember I first heard about you boys probably like a year ago, and you go back and it's like, fuck, they've done like 200 and something episodes already. And you don't realize like 200, that's like 200 weeks. That's like 4 years.
Yeah.
And I feel like the same with a lot of podcasts. Like, you'll go back and look at, even We Got the Chocolates. They were talking to me saying, oh, no one listened to our podcast till we did 100 episodes. And that's
we're
like,
the exact same.
Yeah.
We always say the same thing. We kind of say we think there was no one really listening for the first 100, maybe 120, and then it was a very slow build. Like 120 to like 170 was starting to build an audience, but not a huge one. And then eventually it kind of took off where you look at it and go, okay, now we can actually monetize this. But I think a lot of people jump in from the start and they're like, let's just monetize. Let's just get a sponsor in. It's easy. Let's do this, do that. But if you can't back it up, it's very difficult. So I feel like we're big on like, do your time. Like, it sounds bad. Eat shit for a while. But just do your time, consistent once, and then when you get to a certain level, then you can hand on your heart, pay it off, and then the compound is huge. It just, once a snowball starts, the momentum goes and it becomes very easy. Well, not very easy, but it becomes easier very quickly. That makes sense.
Yeah. What was it like when that snowball started coming?
Well, the interesting thing about the snowball is if you asked us 4.5 years ago, we would have said, oh, we're the snowball starting, right? And then, like, we've got our first, 100 followers. Like, it's beginning. Like, you have something that motivates you each time. It might be one guest. You're like, okay, now we're getting somewhere. Or one episode's doing better. Or one video is starting to do better. But I think it was probably around 2 years ago when we started to notice a bit of a difference. We had brands that actually would go, okay, we're going to put money behind you. So that's that's like a compliment, and someone's obviously they're putting their money to your name. That's when you go, okay, well, it's becoming real. And then I couldn't pinpoint a moment, but like we were talking about off air, there comes a point where it becomes easier. So the guests that you want to get become reachable because you've interviewed their friends, or they start following you, or they're liking your stuff. And I feel like when the change comes from when you reach out to somebody, you don't have to give a life story of who you are and what you're doing versus, hey, do you want to jump on the podcast? And it kind of speaks for itself. I reckon that's the turning point.
That's actually the perfect analogy. That was actually spot on, because that is it. For 3 to 4 years, we were basically giving everyone our life story, why you should come on, and selling us and selling ourselves.
Yeah.
Whereas we don't need to anymore, because we've got the credit, that backs us. We've got the guests, we've got the numbers on the board, or the runs on the board, like a cricket analogy. And if it's a no, that's fine if it's not for them. But I feel like that's the perfect way to describe it, because it's hard not to cringe at the early days when you are reaching out and telling everyone, believe in us and come on, and we're good guys, guys, come sit down with us. Whereas now it's come on, you'll have fun, and and other people have had fun. So
what kept you going through those early days? Because obviously you said it didn't really start to 120 episodes. Like, that's 120 weeks. Mm-hmm. Like, that is over 2 years. What keeps you going every week? Because it is hard to get guests and then sit down, record the podcast, edit, do all that sort of stuff.
I think and Dave could correct me if I'm wrong, but I think when you get some reward, like just a little taste, and that reward could be a big, like a guest you've wanted for ages, whether that's a high profile sports person, which we've had on early days, and we got someone, and that gave us that spark. Like, we've got someone big. How cool is that? They're an idol of ours. That gives you like motivation for longer than you think.
Yeah.
You have, like, for us, we had James Hurd on, like an AFL legend. He wasn't doing any podcasts at the time. He was out of media. We got him on and he came up into our lounge room and we did an hour chat with him, and like that in itself, I think is enough to spark us for another 6 months, because you go, exactly. Someone big believed in us and enjoyed coming on and having a chat. And then the other reward is probably like just little like a brand paying you like $100 for a post, or doing a collaboration with another creator, or I think it's these little things that are out of the everyday ordinary of what us creating a podcast was. So when you get to go out of our podcast, like room or studio, whatever you want to call it, or our process, and you get to chat with other people, go on someone else's podcast, or you get to connect and create content with a brand or another creator, like that, to me, that's what motivated us. Besides having each other to motivate each other, because like if I don't want to work and he does, like, well, how's it going to work?
Yeah.
I think it's having other things away from our podcast that kind of made me and us, just keep going. Yeah, I don't know. I could be wrong, but
no, I agree. I think that's spot on. And it's weird. It's like they can't. It's like Dos just put it perfectly. It's small wins, and for a while it felt like being around a footy club, for example. It's almost like embarrassing and cringe. You've got this podcast on the side, and then suddenly we had James Heard, and then suddenly everyone's coming up. Oh, like they've actually listened to it for the first time, and they're talking about it, and that, like Dos said, that's enough to go. Now we've got a name, which sounds horrible, but we can leverage that name to get other guests. So your mate James Heard's been on the show. Can we get, and then we had Matthew Richardson, another superstar AFL legend, not long after that. And then, suddenly, okay, we're getting a big name every 3 months or every 4 months. And then it kind of snowballs from there. But I'm also, and it sounds, Dos will tell you about this, like I'm a big stats person. Like I just get obsessed with reading stats. It's weird. But
our own stats too.
Like our own stats. So like, and I'd be just obsessed like all day, just like checking downloads.
Yeah, I'm the same.
Yeah.
I'm the same.
So like, and like I remember in those days, I used to just think in my head, all right, if we get, I can't remember the number, but if we had 70 downloads one week, if we get 71 the next, that's a win. That's enough. Like as long as we're not going backwards. And I would just be checking numbers constantly. And when it starts to, suddenly it starts to go and go and go, then you're like, all right, we're on now. And then it gets exciting.
Yeah, going back to the start, how did you boys actually know each other? And then obviously how'd you end up starting the podcast?
Well, so in year 7, I went to a school. So we're both from the Mornington Peninsula. So what would a lot of your listenership, would they be Sydney based?
Yeah,
okay.
I reckon.
So obviously we're in Melbourne, so the Mornington Peninsula, it's like an hour, maybe a bit over an hour southeast of the city. So I grew up in Frankston, Dee grew up in Mornington, and I was at a school called Elizabeth Murdoch in Langwarrin, and my mum and dad didn't think it was a very good school for me. It was a public school, and I wasn't a naughty kid, but there was just so many kids in my year level that I probably wasn't getting the attention that I might have needed, being a bit, slower. And mum and dad, they signed me up to go to they put me on this wait list to go to a school called Flinders Christian College. And I got in and I had to move halfway through year 8, and I didn't want to move school at all. I did not want to move school. Had my mates at Elizabeth Murdoch in Lachie. Mum and dad were like, nah, you're moving. So I moved, and I've gone from like wearing just, I think at AMC we were wearing like not even school shoes. You could wear basically any shoes you wanted. No tie, no blazer, to then moving to this kind of semi-private school to wearing a blazer and a tie. And I felt I didn't want to go there. And then within a few weeks, I met Dee.
Yeah.
And like Dee was...
His life changed forever.
And my life changed forever.
I'm kidding.
I'm trying to remember though, maybe the first time we locked eyes, but...
This is a love story.
I know. But I remember he was with a crew, and we were in the same woodwork class, and he was like with a couple of boys. And
I don't remember
and
this.
Yeah, I remember. You're with... I won't name their names, but... and then... But it was when I knew his face, and I remember thinking, I wonder who that guy is. And then we had a school footy carnival.
Yeah.
And I never really properly met him before. And no offense to Dee, but he didn't look like a footballer. Because all of us kids who love footy, we'd have our boots on, our footy shorts on, like skins are on. And we do this footy carnival, and he's in his school uniform pretty much. Like, he's in his... Well, actually, it was a school uniform, wasn't it? Was it?
It was school uniform, yeah.
He was in his school uniform, in his runners.
No, school shoes.
School shoes, right? And he's playing in this footy carnival, and he dominated. Like, he dominated. He got the best player at the carnival in his whole school uniform, right? And I remember going up to him after one of these games. I said, I must introduce myself or something, because I tried to take him on. I tried it, and he decked me. And
Did I?
yeah,
oh, right.
and because I thought, who is this guy? And then he won the medal or whatever. And I went up to him and said, mate, do you reckon you'll play AFL one day? And then we just became mates. And then our friendship group kind of formed around year 10, year 9. And then D left school like halfway through year 8 and went straight into like the workforce. Halfway through year 11.
I was going to say.
Halfway through year 11. End of year 11.
Finish year 11.
And then he got straight into work. I finished year 12. And then we kind of like, after school, we were always mates, but we kind of decided, why don't we create something? And here we are today. I mean, sorry, that was a really long-winded... And I've never shared that whole story like that before, but yeah, we share the same passions. We love sport. Our dads had very similar businesses. Our dads are both entrepreneurs and in the events industry. And so we just had we've both got 2 sisters. We're both the only boy. Like, we're very similar.
Yeah.
Both grew up in like strong religious families too. Like, we both just had the same upbringing. So I feel like our values like really aligned.
Yeah.
And then with our passions for content and sport and business, it's just worked. Like, we're really lucky. Yeah.
Yeah. So you boys met at high school, and then starting the podcast. Whose idea was it first, or was it just kind of a perfect storm?
Yeah. So that was another interesting one. So basically, what happened was like Dos said before, we both come from entrepreneurial families. We used to have long conversations. So out of school, a few years later, we obviously our friendship grew, and we'd be on the phone a lot. It sounds really bad, and it sounds like such a first world problem, but we'd be literally after work complaining about our lives, basically. Like, we're not happy. Good jobs, decent money, on the right trajectory, both come out of uni, and like both in relationships at one point, but just wanted something more. Just felt like, sounds really bad, but mid-20s, settling down too early. We talk about the peninsula, like ready to kind of just stay in that bubble forever. But both wanted something more and kind of motivating each other to take a risk. So Dos started his podcast. He did a couple of episodes with what he was going to create. And I was solo traveling around America. And while I was traveling, I just became obsessed with podcasts. And I personally thought, well, I want to do this. This is what I feel like I'd like to do. So in the back of my head, I was kind of workshopping ideas, and then Dos, our conversations were getting kind of deeper, and then he said, "Oh, you should come on my podcast." You know, it would have been episode 3 or 4, and I said, "Oh, funny, I'm going to start a podcast too. You can be my first guest." And then I don't know exactly how it happened, but we put our 2 brain cells together and said, maybe we should go in this together. And thank God we did, because we would have just been doing the exact same thing, but
like against each other.
Well, not even just against each other, but
we
probably
wouldn't have lasted.
Like, you just wouldn't have lasted. So, and now we can talk about it later, but now we feel we have an actual point of difference to a lot of people. The way our show is so unique, and that's we feel that's one of the reasons it's kind of doing well. But that was kind of how it started. Then we started just doing the classic meet for coffee, a notebook, a pen. Let's workshop ideas. What could this podcast be called? What's it for? Very self-developy. We were reading a lot of self-development books. Got obsessed with that kind of stuff and wanted to regurgitate the same information out to everybody else. The same things we were reading. We're like, well, let's just tell it. And that's how it started for the first little while. And I think we felt, for a while, I don't know about you, but we almost felt guilty for stepping away from that and going into more of the entertainment space, which is where we are now. Probably because that's how we started, and the people that were supporting us at the start were people that were just obsessed with that kind of stuff. Yeah. And we copped a bit of flack when we started. Really, like, our guests got a little bit more controversial, our content got a little bit more controversial. It was working for us and we were enjoying it more, but we were getting questioned by people saying, well, what like, you've changed kind of. Yeah. But who were we to go and talk about self-development and all these things when we hadn't gone and achieved it ourselves? So, it's kind of an interesting, when you sit back and reflect, which we don't often do, it's interesting to think how these things just organically happen.
Yeah. You're saying you copped a bit of slack when you started. Was it from people you knew or just random people online, or a bit of both?
I think the one I'm referring to is, and there's an interesting turning point. I'm sure you're thinking the same thing I am. But our content for the first 3 years was very, I'd say, vanilla, very safe. So completely non-offensive, saying all the right things, but nobody was listening because you wouldn't get anything. Like, it was boring. Like, you
go and listen to someone who's of high stature and caliber, like millions of followers talking about the same thing. So why would you come to us to listen to that when you go to them?
And it was just like just surface level conversations. So we weren't getting anything out of the guests. Not that we try and get it. We never try and get a headline or anything, but we're able to relax our guests now, so they share funny stories and experiences, and it's an entertaining show versus talking to someone for an hour with like very basic questions, basic answers. And then we locked in Sam Newman, which was our biggest.
Do you know who Sam Newman is?
Do you know who Sam Newman is? No, that's right. So
wait, I know the name.
Yeah, so very probably before your time, but
yeah, God, you're a baby.
Former AFL player, but the turned media superstar, and then was part of the footy show here in Melbourne. That was
on
TV
I definitely. If you show me his face, I
you know
him.
Got it, but just controversial, outspoken. Yeah. A lot of you either love him or you hate him. He's
what's
the most
AFL? Kane Corns.
Like almost to that degree, but probably worse in terms of just like just doesn't care if he offends people, right? Yeah. But absolute gentleman and a dream of ours to interview. So we eventually got him on the show, and when we announced that we were going to interview him, because he was saying some pretty interesting things in the media at the time that weren't definitely what you should be saying. That's when we copped a lot of flack, and we're getting these people that we're pretty sure weren't even listening anyway. They're saying, how could you interview XYZ?
He said something very racist.
Yeah.
Or it was
not on our show.
Not on our show, but people thought he said something racist
in the media.
On our show.
Yeah.
So we were copying it.
We were copying, and they're saying, how could you promote, how could you give this guy a platform, blah, blah, blah. He's saying all this because they disagree with it, which fair enough. But we're looking at our downloads and views and TikToks and Instagrams, and everything's just going nuts, versus the person we had a few weeks earlier that says all the right things. It's very safe, and no one's listening or watching. And of course, we don't do it for views and listens and downloads, but we enjoyed it more, and we're like, that was, and to answer your question, that was probably that was the main thing in my mind, where suddenly we were copying like a lot of hate, but also a lot of love. Like it was, but you were just copying it both. And we used to read it, and people used to tell us, like, you'll know you're starting to make it when you get hate. When people don't like you and you're getting mean comments, that's when you know you're actually starting to do something right. And that was the start of that storm. And now we cop it every week.
It's funny though, isn't it? Really interesting. We were doing something we thought we loved, but we weren't. Like it was that episode we realised, no, we love this side of entertainment and having a laugh and having a joke and having other people on this. Not that we didn't enjoy it before. But all of a sudden, we've gone from thinking we really loved it to now we love it even more. Like it was like a passing a baton of sorts, I should say. Like
it's like you just grew into your own.
Exactly.
And we weren't, and we stopped posting the same shit, basically, like the same just we're like, who cares now? We're just going to post what we enjoy and what we find funny, and if people don't like it, we're not. I don't look at us as controversial by any stretch. I don't think of course, we occasionally offend somebody, but we will always apologise because we never go out to offend somebody. But I think it was just like a weight off your shoulders to go, okay, we can just create the content we want to create with the people we want to interview, not pick a guest because we think, oh, they say all the right things. We pick the guest because we want to talk to that guest, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. Was it always guest-based? Because I know you boys have a lot of guests on. Or did it start just you two?
Started just us two. Yeah. So, and it's hard. I don't think I couldn't tell you the last time I went back and listened to any of those.
The early ones?
Yeah.
Nah. We
hope how many was it? The first 30?
More. Oh, yeah.
I think our first interview was episode 20
something. Yeah.
25, I think, or 28.
Yeah, something along there.
And so the first 20 or 25 were all us, and it was just in my lounge room. Like, that's all it was.
Yeah.
It was in my lounge room. We had one camera and a couple of mics connected.
Half the time we wouldn't even turn the camera on. Like, honestly, we just say, who cares?
But now we still do one DOS and D uncut, we call it, a month. So we do so our whole month, so across, say, the 4 weeks, we'll do 3 interviews and then one of just us two. So we still have, but that's changed. So
that's very different. Maybe explain uncut.
Yeah, so uncut kind of came about purely because we were at home in our lounge room, and we were, how we created our show was segment based. So instead of just us two sitting there talking about one topic for 60 minutes, we were like looking at other shows and other big podcasts and how do they operate, and they have segments, and they might have a 10-minute bit and then a 15-minute bit and then a rolling joke from a last episode that goes as like Hamish and Andy do, or these Bad Friends, or these other big podcasts that are entertainment based. And then, so that's what we do. So once a month now, we'll it'll just be broken down into segments. We edit it all up, so it's almost like a real entertainment show.
Yeah.
And yeah, we talk about our own lives. We share things that we shouldn't share, and people often say to us, "I feel like I know you boys. Like I feel like you're my best mate, or I really know you." And it's because I think of Dawson the Uncut, because our whole goal has been from the start is what would happen is we'd have a big, I don't want to say big name, because big name kind of says all our other guests aren't, of the same level.
Though.
So we would have someone with a high profile, say. What would happen is the downloads would go up, and then after the high profile, and it would just be someone else or us the next week, it would drop. It would drop a fair bit. So you get a big spike. The whole goal is we don't want people to come and listen to just the guests. We want people to come and listen to us.
Yeah, for sure.
So for us, we're going to have 3 interviews every month and 1 Dawson Uncut. People are if they're going to stick around, they might stick around for the uncut and get to know us even more. So then it doesn't matter who we have on, they're just going to listen to it every week because they enjoy the way we interview, they enjoy our personality, they understand, the intricacies of our team and the in-jokes, and it's the whole goal is to get to retain listeners no matter who the guest is, because early days, you get someone big on, and of course you're going to get a spike, but how do I turn that spike, even if it's 5-10%, like if I can get that 5-10% of that new audience to click subscribe, those downloads are going to continue to rise just slowly.
Yeah, and I know you boys talk about Hamish and Andy and a few other podcasters. Did you have any big inspirations when you started or when you were growing up in this industry?
I've always loved I've always loved media.
Yeah.
So making movies since I was a kid. I don't know. Did you ever do that?
Yeah, like the iMovies and stuff.
Yeah, all that. I loved it. And me and my cousins used to make movies even before iMovie was a thing, and we'd just film it and do it on. I don't know how we would do it, and one of our good mates, Jai. I made a few good videos with him and movies with him, and we had a dress-up box at my house growing up. It was just ridiculous when you think about it. We had this huge dress-up box full of wigs and costumes and just weird stuff. Yeah. And then one of my good mates, one of my best mates, Shane, he would come over on the school holidays and he'd stay for a week, and we just made movies all week. Yeah. And we'd show our family at the end of the week, and you'd think you were hilarious. It was terrible.
Yeah. I remember I used to make the WWE ones.
Yeah,
man. Always make myself
do the moves.
Win. Yeah.
Who's your favourite wrestler?
Of all time, it's got to be John Cena of all time.
Yeah, baby.
But probably maybe Roman Reigns.
I thought he was going to say Rey Mysterio.
Oh, yeah. No,
that's
remember, there's almost a 10-year gap here.
I know.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Mate, Rey's still wrestling.
Yeah, true.
I remember making those movies, and they were just...
Yeah.
I remember even thinking back on them now, what were they?
Yeah. So I've always loved content creation.
Yeah.
And then in terms of podcasting, probably just I've enjoyed sports broadcasting, sports media, and then your classics like Hamish and Andy. I know everyone talks about them, but just always enjoyed creating content of any form, and this was an easy way to do that. Podcasting is we say to everyone, if you want to make content, podcasting is if you're going to do it to create content, podcasting is the cheat code. Whether you got a business, whether you just want to start and you've got a story to share or a voice. Podcast, who cares if it's 5, 10, 20, 50, 100 downloads? People don't do it because they're worried about, I won't get any listeners, but you do it for the content. You've got your cameras, you chop all this up.
Yeah.
It's a cheat code. Yeah. Who are some of your inspirations?
To be honest, probably much the same. I go through phases of podcasts, which sounds kind of weird. I would be obsessed for a while and listen to, but they're all the main ones. Impulsive was a big one for us to kind of start creating the framework of how we wanted to interact with guests. So relaxed, fun, unpredictable. We focused on not trying to set a linear story. So we'd like to start by asking a question that's either current or random. It's not where you normally start in an interview. Having the ability to bounce around during interviews, so it's not we're just going to go, where did you grow up? How did you get, when you got, if we're talking about an AFL player, when you got drafted, your first game, your 50th game, your hunt, whatever. Let's bounce around and just pinpoint the parts we actually find interesting, not all the little parts in between. So that was big, and then I mean, I've always liked, Joe Rogan's always been one as well. But again, that's one where you just phase in and out of occasionally, and then the classic sports ones that just keep you up to date. We're big soccer fans, so we like to keep an eye on, and it's easier to listen to a podcast and get all the news you need because it's not in your face every day. So yeah, that's probably me.
So like we love Triple M.
Oh yeah.
So like Triple M, a lot of their shows are turned into podcasts now, which is great.
Yeah, like Lou and Jarch on there.
Well, not them, but I actually saw them. Yeah, they're on Triple M now in Sydney, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
it is different, Melbourne.
Yeah. So footy, the real footy. The real footy. So they've had a few real successful footy shows here on Triple M for years.
Yeah. They're more entertainment focused.
But they're entertainment.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So the preamble of the game. It's like pre-game. They've got all each person is their own character and persona on air. It runs all season. Like we love those too, and we've interviewed a few of them, and it's they're great. Yeah.
How do you think content creation is going now? Because I feel like I know you boys would see when you're scrolling Instagram, there's a million things saying, "Oh, you want to make this much money? Do content creation." Do you think it's like developing weird? Because I feel like you should start it because you love doing it, and it should be about something you love instead of, oh, you want to buy this course on how to make money through content. What do you boys think about that?
I think it comes back to the why. I think it's really important. So I mean, like Dos touched on earlier, we have a service where we produce content for businesses through podcasting predominantly, but also away from it. And it always comes back to the first question is you go, well, why are you doing this? So do you want to build a following? Do you want to make money? How do you see it all play out? It's okay. Sometimes we just we need brand awareness. No one knows who we are. One of our favourite people in terms of when we're getting started to listen to was Grant Cardone. And he used to just say, if nobody knows who you are, you're basically useless. If 100 people know you today, make sure 150 know you tomorrow, and then 200, because once people know who you are, that's where the power kind of lies within. So I think in this day and age, when it comes to businesses, in the business world, I think content's incredibly important because it's firstly, it builds trust. It gets people get to know who you are, and you stand yourself out against competitors straight away. People will go with a trusted brand, typically. I know it sounds like a business podcast, but people will go with a trusted brand. And if you know someone because you feel like you know them and you know their jingle or their motto or whatever it may be, you're more likely to go with them. In our kind of game, in the more entertainment space, which is obviously different, again, I think just the enjoyment factor is really, really important. You see people try and we can see this in ourselves, go out and mimic and word vomit the same stuff that you're hearing all the time, but you got nothing to back yourself up. People see right through that straight away. I hate inauthentic content. I've told Dos about this so many times. Like when you see people in industries they're clearly there to make money, but they're pretending they're not, and they're doing it through a back-ended way. They can see a path forward. I can make money because this is what is a good message, but I'm not really passionate about the cause, but it's a good way to, that's something I have a big problem with, and I find that incredibly frustrating. So what about you? How do you kind of feel?
Just content in general. I think what I lean more towards now, it's probably away from what I like to consume. It's away from what we actually do. So the content I like to consume is more. It's actually the most unedited content you can imagine, which is it's all documentation. So I've only just started getting on the YouTube train in the last month. And,
oh really?
Yeah, and when I say that, I mean watching it. So pay for YouTube Premium, and it's like game changer. It's the best, no ads and stuff. But the content I'm watching, it's people that are just documenting their life. No over editing. It's all real. It's authentic. It's just them being themselves, and it's me and Garni, or my partner, are obsessed with. He's a massive YouTuber called Outdoor Boys, and it's just all camping and stuff.
Outdoor Boys.
Yeah, and it's again, it's a huge channel and stuff. But if you go and look at his content, it's just him doing what he enjoys with a GoPro, setting it up, and just chopping it all up so it's in a 30-minute video, and it's talking to the camera. It's nothing crazy. I reckon there's lots of people that could be making content, and it doesn't have to be overcomplicated.
Yeah.
And the other facet of it too is you can create content not for the sake of posting it, but just for having it. So it's something I think about a lot now, like going into this next phase of our lives, and you know, time just goes so quick. So already it felt like yesterday I was 18, now I'm 30, and I think, what have I documented? Like, we're lucky we've got the podcast and we've been able to create something and document, and there's content there. We're always filming each other on the street or just living day to day, you know, filming D or him filming me doing something stupid. But you want to like document, like, I don't know if your family did this growing up or yours, but like when I was growing up, my family had an actual video camera.
Yeah.
And we're filming everything us kids were doing, and like it's there for us to look at when we want now. Like, we've got all this tech, we've got GoPros, we've got everything. Like, we should just be filming it.
Yeah.
Just film it anyway, not even for the sake of creating content. And if you want to create the content, we'll do it and post it. But like, why not do it for your own personal, like, just entertainment later on down the line, for your own memories and stuff. Yeah.
I know you talk about people creating just straight authentic content. I remember growing up, I was a big fan of, I don't know if you boys know Roman Atwood.
No.
He bro, he was like one of the not original YouTubers, but the first to like vlog.
Okay.
And literally all he would do was he'd post like every day. He posted for like 500 and something days in a row at one point.
Right.
And but his videos were literally like him with his family, and some days he'd be like, yeah, we're not doing anything today. We'll just and he'll just film like walking around the house doing whatever, making dinner. But like he like had millions of views, tens of millions of subscribers.
Wow.
And he was huge. Like, I feel like if you ask anyone my age who they watched YouTube, it was kind of like 2015, 2016. It was always Roman Atwood.
Well, do you know Hub's life?
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's all backfired in his face at the moment. So
Yeah,
Hub's life.
is he the one who has the 9 to 5?
Well, yeah, he went nuts and blew up on TikTok purely for making the 9 to 5 okay, and because we live in this world where 9 to 5 is the enemy. Get out of the 9 to 5. 9 to 5 is bad. It's, you know, you're wasting your life. And we were part of that. We wanted to get out of the 9 to 5 too and have our own business, but he normalized it, and he was like 80. I don't know what the percentage would be, but like probably 70 to 90% of people working 9 to 5. That's how they earn their income.
Yeah.
And he created this basic content of him just getting ready in the morning, you know, eating his breakfast, getting in the car, driving to work, at work, lunch break, back at work, like till he got home. And it went nuts, and it was just the same videos every single day, but tens of millions of views because people are watching it going, that's me.
Yeah.
And it actually isn't so bad when you really think about it. But then he made so much money on TikTok that he was like, I might just go out on my own now. And then then it all backfired because people started unfollowing him because his content wasn't authentic anymore.
Yeah.
And it wasn't. It felt like he was selling them something else.
Yeah.
And now I think he's thinking of going back to the 9 to 5. You know?
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, authentic content wins 100%.
Yeah. 100%. How would you, obviously content is so oversaturated and there's a million podcasts out there. How would you boys, or how do you boys kind of differ yourselves and break through that saturation?
Yeah, there's a few ways we really feel. One I touched on earlier, the way we interview and the relaxed nature of our show. But we've put in, we made little changes as we've gone. So we started on a table, then we moved to a couch straight away. That changed the dynamic straight away in a podcast. People are relaxed when they sit down and they feel comfortable. They're relaxed. So we actually we're like, we need to get comfy couches and every single one of our guests, I don't know it, but they always sit down. They always go, oh wow, this is comfy. They always say that before we start. Really simple one we always feel is, and you did the exact same thing. You ask what's off limits before you start. If they say, please, I don't want to talk about this, which is rare, but occasionally, sometimes you're disappointed because you did want to talk about it, but you just respect it. You don't touch on it. You let it go. But then if they say nothing, then okay, cards down, let's just go. And if anything needs to be edited, we can edit later on. But we've worked really hard to create a dynamic where when a guest comes in, how we want them to feel from the time they're with us and when they leave, and then post that as well. So when we were starting out, we're like, we need to create relationships with all our guests. And like, we need to create friendships. And I just use the same name because we've used it all day, but James Hurd, we're like, we want to be friends with this guy. Well, he's 20, 30 years older than us. He's he's doing well in life. He doesn't like we don't actually bring any value to him when we got no followers. We've got like so, and we'd be like, how can we get coffees and how can we go out for dinner with these people? And then it starts to turn organically when you got something to give back. But in this game, people don't typically pay guests to go on a podcast. We've never paid a single guest to come on the show, but we've created ways that we actually give back through brands that they actually walk away with all this cool stuff. So we give away Dawson D goodie bag at the end of the show. They get all these cool products. They didn't expect it. It's thousands of dollars worth of stuff. And they go, oh, wow, this is unexpected. It's not just a bottle of wine or a box of chocolates. This is like unique. And it goes away in like this Dawson D tote bag. And it's like a little reminder of who we are. And then they're like, oh, well, I've had a good experience. I'll tell my friends I had a good experience when we asked them on the show. And then they vouch for us. So people come in now relaxed and they kind of know what to expect. And I feel the way and I don't know how to say this in a way that doesn't sound like we're big-headed because I don't want us to sound that way at all. But I feel like we do have a skill to get the best out of people and make them feel comfortable and relaxed and open to sharing stuff they wouldn't normally share. And we try and, we have gone and done research on how to start a conversation properly and how to get people relaxed from the start, because you could do a podcast and it takes 30 or 40 minutes for somebody to warm up, you've lost the audience straight away. Yeah. You need to get them within 5 minutes, 2 minutes even. Again, a montage at the start of the show with the highlights, the funniest moments, what's going to make somebody keep listening. It's all those little intricacies that we've just tried tweaking over 5 years, and we tweak slowly. Sometimes we go, we're not making enough changes, but if you look back, we're like, okay, 6 months ago, we were doing this differently. 6 months prior to that, that was different. And we're just tweaking as we go, so that our end goal is that we're not a podcast, we're this entertainment show. It's different. It's unexpected. You don't know what you're going to get, but it's always going to be, fun or insightful. Is there anything?
No. Yeah. Next question. That was perfect.
It sort of touches on what we just talked about, but what advice? This question's more for me than the listeners.
What do you want to know?
What advice would you give to a smaller podcast and someone who's, what advice would you give to a relatively new podcast trying to break through that mold?
It's kind of weird getting asked that question because I still feel like I'm in your shoes. Like, serious. Like, I still feel like we're starting to an extent because it's not easy. It's freaking hard, and even when you do see growth, it's still hard, and it's still a slog, and you still got to get it out every week. And even though there are some more spoils and rewards, like, it's still, nothing changes. Like, the podcast still has to go out every week, and you still have to be thinking on your toes, how can we get better and change and stuff. But when it comes to advice, and I wouldn't necessarily say it as someone who's ahead, but just as someone who we do what we do, what would I say? I'd probably just, that sounds really cliche, like super cliche, but you have to post every week and stick at it. You can't, there's no off days, there's no off weeks. If you want to do it, and I've seen way too many people do it. Like that, what they'll do is they'll start a podcast and they'll do this big launch. Yeah. And they'll do 5 episodes or 10, and they have a break for a month or 6 months. Yeah. So Dee talked about the guest experience. One thing that we don't really openly say it because it's just become part of our norm. It's also respecting your audience. Mm-hmm. Like if I'm trying to get you to listen to my podcast and I finally get you after like a month, maybe you listen to 3 or 4 episodes, or 6 months, you might listen to a handful of episodes and you go, I actually like these boys. I'm going to subscribe and I'm going to listen every week. What if in 3 weeks after that, we just stop uploading? Like, what happens? Well, this person's like, well, oh shit, all right. I'm used to having them every Monday morning. It's gone. They didn't even tell me. Just stopped. That's what happens with a lot of podcasts, is they don't actually think that, we're going to upload every Monday, and they do it for a few months or a period of time or a year, and then they just stop without telling anyone. So my number one piece of advice would be, obviously it depends what your goal is. Like, if your goal is to be Joe Rogan, well, yeah, you don't stop, you just keep going. But your goal might be, I just want to get a couple of sponsors and earn a bit of money on the side and still have my job and do the podcast, and that might be enough, and you might be wrapped with that. But for us, where we want to go and where we are. It's purely just got to keep creating. There's no off weekends. There's every day, every Monday at 6 a.m. episode goes out. D releases it and presses go and it's out.
Yeah.
There's no secret code, no secret sauce, I should say.
Yeah, and we always stuck to that. Like, we always say, if we had 3 people listening every week, respect those 3 people. And then those 3 become 5, and 5 become 10, and then suddenly you're in the thousands, and you're like, well, how good's this? The other thing too, and you only get better as you go forward, and that's the hardest thing. Like we said, we won't listen to our first 50 episodes because we can't. Probably 100, 150, but it's interesting. I stumbled upon one of our episodes we did almost a year ago to this date. One of my favorites we ever put out, and when we released it, it went nuts. One of our highest ever rated episodes. I was so proud of it. You were so proud of it. And I listened to it the other day because I thought I just want to relive it and enjoy it. And I sat there, and I literally was like, I can't listen to this, because we were like, every time the guest talk, we're cutting in and we're getting excited and we're trying to be too. I'm like,
we're trying to be too funny,
like too funny or too energetic or too like. And
is this Jules?
No. Ray.
Oh.
But I'm like, we're cutting this guy off during these, and like these are just little things that you learn. And we were 200 episodes in at that point.
Yeah.
But now I look back and I'm like, even a year ago, I'm like, we were happy where we were then and for that interview. But now I look back, I'm like, I wish we did this different. I wish we did that different. And you only do it by continuing to show up time and time again.
Yeah, it's inspiring to see you boys, what you boys have built from the ground up, and I'm sure the listeners will love it as well. Thanks so much for jumping on. I've really enjoyed this chat. Yeah.
Appreciate you, Lachie.
Yeah.
It's been
Thank
great.
you.
Thanks so much for having us, mate. It's been a lot of fun, and keen to stay in contact and see where we can go from here.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, excited
Thanks,
to watch
boys.
Remember When, keep growing, mate.
Yeah, hopefully that's the plan.